have you ever discovered that when you wake up at night, you don't just wake up in the night because you want to go and, to the restroom or whatever. There is a reason why you wake up at night and at a particular time from 3 a.m. to 5 a.m. If you discover that most of the time you wake up from 3 a.m. to 5 a.m., it means that God is telling you something. Yes. If you like, check. I want you to watch this video for you to know why you wake up at this particular time. And when you wake up at that time, what you must do. What you must do. Like I said, I've always been telling you people, life is more spiritual than physical. What happens here already happened in the spiritual. So it's very important for you to watch this video. I'll be right back. Watch this video.
3 things you are to do every time you wake up between 3 a.m. and 5 a.m. And allow me to talk about why you are waking up between 3 a.m. and 5 a.m. before I give you those 3 things that you are to do every time you wake up between 3 a.m. and 5 a.m. And that is because I believe the more you know, the more you function. The less you know, the less you function. You are waking up between 3 a.m. and 5 a.m. not by mistake. It has crossed the line of the natural. You're not waking up because you want to go to the restroom or you want to go to the loo, you want to release yourself or anything like that. Stop being logical over spiritual things. It is because you are chosen. Yes, you are waking up between 3 a.m. and 5 a.m. because you are chosen. One needs to understand that we have 8 prayer watches. I believe every believer knows that in a 24-hour day. 4 for the day, 4 for the night. And the watch between 3 a.m. and 5 a.m. is known as the last watch of the night. It's also known as the last lap, the last race, or the early morning watch. And of course, watchmen during that watch are known as the chosen ones. And that is because in the spirit, this hour, this watch, is known as the hour of visitation. Not just any visitation, but divine visitation, supernatural encounters. It is during this hour that people will have divine revelations. It is also believed that when Jacob wrestled with the angel of the Lord, it was between 3 a.m. and 5 a.m. Hence, you hear the angel in Genesis chapter 32, verse 24 saying, "Let me go because the day is about to break." So he had an encounter that changed not only his life, but changed the lives of his children and an entire generation because of an encounter that he had in a certain watch. And this is the watch that we are talking about today. When Jesus walked on the water, it is believed that it was between 3 a.m. and 5 a.m. I can go on and on and on and on, but let's move forward. This hour between 3 a.m. and 5 a.m. is also known as the hour of blessing. The hour of blessing. It's time to rise and shine according to Isaiah 60 verses 1. This hour, only the chosen will be woken up. And that is because it is also known as the darkest hour of the day. Let me say that again. The darkest hour of the day. And the enemy loves operating under the cover of darkness. So this is where Satan will release his hosts, will release his strategies to hijack the day. And only the chosen can be able to fight against that. Not only for themselves, but also for their families, for those that are connected to them. I think let me just go deeper and flow in this, and please pay attention. So, as a watchman, it is very important for you to do your duties, meaning it is important for you to make sure that what God has put in you is done accordingly. And that is the assignment that God has put in you. Remember, God does not attach his assignment to your flesh, to your mind, but to your spirit. Right? Hence, your waking up is because your spirit knows who you are in God. Your mind might not know, but your spirit knows who you are. So you are waking up at that time because you are on duty, watchman. And what happens when the watchman watches but doesn't do anything? Let's read the Bible. I wanted to quote, but this one I want us to read it. The book of Ezekiel, chapter 33, verses 6. This is King James. Let me try and see what NLT will say because my Bible there is King James 1611 approved. Let's see what NLT will say to us. NLT reads, "But if the watchman sees the enemy coming and doesn't sound the alarm, the trumpet, to warn the people, he is responsible for their captivity." The Bible then continues to say, "They will die in their sins, but I will hold the watchman responsible for their deaths." Pay attention now. It's not the wise men who killed them, murdered them, but God is not holding the enemy responsible, but the watchman. That tells you that a watchman is a gatekeeper. A watchman's responsibility is bigger than what we think. That if lives are lost, God will come back and look for the watchman and hold the watchman responsible. Some of you don't understand that your inability to watch will cause distraction, not only in your life, but also in the lives of those that are connected to you. And some of you are called to watch over a generation. That the whole generation will begin to walk in the light of God because of you. Will begin to walk in truth because of you. Hence, it is important for you to take what we are talking about serious, especially if you know, no jokes around it, you always wake up between 3 a.m. and 5 a.m. and you did not know why. The answer is simple. You are chosen and you are a watchman. Now, the first thing that you need to do every time you wake up between 3 a.m. and 5 a.m., number one, the very first thing that you need to do is to try and remember your last dream before waking up. Why your dream? Is because God speaks through dreams. And once you remember your dream, you will then know what to pray for. Because the mistake that chosen people, watchmen, make is to put prayer above the voice of God. And they end up praying in vain. And they end up shooting in blanks. But if you pray, yet you know what God is saying you should pray for, then you are praying from the victory point. And I believe it is important for you to hear me and hear me very well. So you need to remember your last dream. Why, Apostle? Job 33 verses 14 and 15, or even quote 16, says, "God speaks once, yet twice, but men perceiveth it not." Verse 15 says, "In a dream, in a vision of the night, when deep sleep falleth upon men." Verse 16 then God says, then it says, "He opens," who? God, "opens the ears of men and seal their instruction for the day." Meaning every time one wakes up from a dream, one wakes up from their sleep, they already have the instruction of the day. Can you believe that? Can you believe that? They already have instructions of the day. Hence, it is important for you not to ignore your dreams. It is important for you not to take for granted your dreams because God speaks through dreams. So the moment you remember your dream, I know that there are people who are saying, but I don't understand my dreams. That's because dreams are symbolic. Not every dream is clear. Some dreams are spiritual dreams, some dreams are spiritual visions, some dreams are prophetic dreams, as much as we have new opinion kind of dreams, right? So not every dream will be clear as to this is what you need to do from here to here. But then you need to perceive. That's what the Bible says, God speaks once, yet twice, but men perceiveth it not. The word perceiveth it not there is the word unable to interpret what God is saying. Hence, you need to study the meaning of spiritual dreams so that at the end of the day, you yourself know exactly what a dream that involves animals, lions, colors, numbers mean, so that you are not somebody who's everywhere but not anywhere, because God is talking to you, but you need to be able to decode that which was encoded into your spirit. So the first thing, you remember the last dream you had before waking up, and then you pray accordingly. You then pray accordingly. Because some people will be praying for their marriages, yet God is saying your marriage is not under attack. What is under attack is your finances. What is under attack is your spiritual life. What is under attack is your baby in 3 weeks from now. What is under attack is your job, is your business in 4 years from now. That's why prayer is the only thing that can go to the future and wait for us. And we see that in the book of John, chapter 17, when Jesus prayed for those that will still believe in his name. So when you pray after hearing the voice of God, you are not going to pray in vain. So praying without knowing exactly what to pray for, and praying in the physical, I'm not talking about praying in tongues, a different level altogether, you will end up praying in vain because you are shooting in blanks. You might be addressing an issue that needs not to be addressed. So that is the first thing. Try and remember your dream and pray accordingly. The second thing is to meditate. Let's say you wake up between 3 a.m. and 5 a.m. You can't remember your dream. You don't know what to do at that moment. Meditate. Don't force yourself back to sleep. Don't. You are a watchman. You are chosen. Something is going to happen sooner or later that God himself wants you to minimize, stop, or even change. So don't force yourself back to sleep, okay? So you are to alter something. So when you meditate, it's just that a lot of people, when you talk about meditation, they think, they conceptualize the art of meditation. No, 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 no. It's big. You ponder. That's why the word meditate is the word hagar. You ponder. You ponder. I wish I could talk about that. You ponder. And as you ponder, guess what then happens? Your spirit man begins to retrieve information that God himself had put in your spirit long time ago. Because God can put something in your spirit now for next year. God can put something in your spirit now for 3 weeks from now. So your spirit already knows. Your spirit already has that information. But guess what now? Because there is a bridge between your spirit and your mind, which happens to be your soul in there, which happens to be your soul. Then what then happens is that as long as you are more active this side, which is the physical, the flesh, you are inactive in your spirit, or in the spirit life, so to say, if I was to put it that way, because you can't have both moving, in the same direction. One has to bow, one has to be dominant, one has to be in charge. So 3 a.m. and 5 a.m., that's where now your spirit man is more active. So when you meditate and you begin to ponder, your spirit then retrieves and gives it to your mind. You all of a sudden start perceiving things. You all of a sudden start feeling things, hearing things, sensing things. Nobody told you this is going to happen, but you begin to know by intuition. It's called perceiving. That's why the Bible then says, and Paul said to them, I perceive that this voyage here is going to have problems. I perceive that this ship here, we're going to have a shipwreck here. And they did not believe him. Experts said, he's crazy, the weather is good. Let's go, let's sail. And they had a shipwreck that Paul himself ended up praying for them, and he asked God not to allow anyone to die there. But Paul never said an angel spoke to me. Paul never said I had a dream, as a matter of fact. He never said God spoke to me. He said I perceive. So every chosen person, every seer has that intuition, that ability to perceive. We call it inward knowledge, knowing without anybody telling you. And that is because your spirit gives it to you. Why is your spirit giving it to you? How does your spirit know? Your spirit is a part of God. And that is the same spirit that will know things without any man telling your spirit. One will say, Apostle, this is too deep. Yes, it's too deep. How did Adam know the names of the animals without God telling him the names of the animals? It's because his spirit was more awakened. His spirit was more alive. So without anybody telling him the names of the animals, he had the answers. He looked at a zebra, he said, you are a zebra. He looked at a lion and said, you are a lion. He looked at a crocodile and said, you are a crocodile. And he looked at a cockroach and said, yes, you are a crow, but crotch, not a crocodile. Anyway, let's flow. So it is important for you to meditate. Some of you, you begin to see even things that are happening in the lives of those that matter in your life. Some of you, you begin to know without anybody telling you, and you then pray accordingly. Then, of course, the last thing, which is the third thing that you are to do every time you wake up between 3 a.m. and 5 a.m. is to raise or make declarations. You see, when you read the Bible in the book of 1 Thessalonians chapter 5, verse 17, Paul says, pray without ceasing. And the word pray there does not mean what most people think it means. For an example, in the book of Luke chapter 4, verse 18, Jesus says, men ought to pray always and not to faint. Now we have pray here, we have pray here. Pray in Luke 4 verse 18, we have pray here in 1 Thessalonians chapter 5 verse 17. This pray and pray sounds the same, spells the same, appears the same, but does not mean the same thing. In the Bible, we have so many words that are duplicated. They sound the same, they spell the same, but they don't mean the same thing. So the pray in Luke 4 verse 18 is the word prosuke, or rather is from the Greek word prosuke. Prosuke means two-way communication. Because prayer, anyway, is not an analog but a dialogue. It's you speaking to God and God speaking to you. So that's prosuke. But the pray in 1 Thessalonians chapter 5 verse 17 is not prosuke but prosuke mai. Prosuke mai is when you are making decrees. Hence he said, pray without ceasing. Meaning make decrees without ceasing. Make declarations without ceasing. Meaning I'm in the bathroom, I'm declaring. I'm driving, I'm declaring. I'm at work, I'm muttering but declaring at the same time. Mutter means I'm saying something, people can hear me, but I can hear what I'm saying. So you are declaring even there. So when you wake up between 3 a.m. and 5 a.m., start commanding your morning. Command the day. Okay? And how do you do that? You do that by prophetically raising and making declarations. The Bible says in the book of Job, chapter 22, thou shalt decree or declare a thing, and it shall be established. As a matter of fact, let me quickly confirm that, because I don't want people to miss the revelation. Job chapter 22, verse 28, thou shalt also decree a thing, and it shall also be what? Established. So every time you wake up at that time and you begin to speak things that are not as though they are established. That's what the Bible says. Speaking things that are not as though they are. So take advantage of that moment. Take advantage of that time. One will say, but how long should I pray when I wake up between 3 a.m. and 5 a.m.? And to answer you, you pray until you know it's done. Some can pray 1 hour, some can pray 45 minutes, some can pray 30 minutes, some can pray even 10 minutes. It is important for you to know that before I say amen, before I say that is so, I need to know in my spirit, I need to feel it in my spirit, I need to receive confirmation in my spirit that it is done. So the moment you feel it is done in your spirit, the moment you know it is done in your spirit, then you can go back to sleep. And most people who are running businesses, companies, most of them will tell you that they received those divine ideas between 3 a.m. and 5 a.m. So you are waking up between 3 a.m. and 5 a.m. because you are chosen. And in the prophetic, we say, this is the hour of the chosen.